JF Stretford, Paddock. This is Howson's Brew, and I'm taking over. How we doing? You all right?
Mega, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
So, see you there.
That's Stephen Howson, in case you didn't know. And this is Andy Tate. How we doing, my friend?
Yeah, I've not been here since Villarreal, so...
Right, we don't want to talk about that. Let's move on. Let's talk about something better. United are still in debt. Yay.
Yeah, what do you do?
Do you know what? What is the title of today's? United's debt continues to rise.
We've had a financial report, Stephen.
All right.
There's always something, you know, on a Friday evening or Friday morning when it came out, something you want to cheer yourself up with is learning that United are still £443 million in debt. But Ed Woodward's given a statement, so we're going to be all right. I mean, get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about that. We're going to get to other stuff as well, happier things other than Manchester United still being run by an absolute shit show. What have you been up to anyway? I've not seen you for a little while. Either of you, either you can answer. It's an open question to the floor.
I had Berbatov on this morning.
Fucking straight away. Pick that name up from there.
With Rio.
Oh, wow, he's gone for the double, eh? Has anyone got a dustpan and brush?
Don't pretend like you didn't know this, because he was in here before.
Rio was in here, and like I still get a bit like, oh, it's Rio Ferdinand now. You're his mate. You're not that fucking ass.
What's funny is Rio can't get over Ronaldo's called Ronaldo.
I love that. I saw him coming when he came in the back, and he was like laughing at it, just laughing because there's a guy called Ronaldo there. But yeah, you do what you're doing. Ronaldo's meeting him later, and then he's doing stuff.
I think I'm going to keep him on the show with us. I think so. We're doing a watch along at 8 o'clock on 5. This watch alongs have been a thing for a minute.
Yeah,
I think we were one of the first to do it on TFR for the Euros 2016, coincidentally, 5 years ago. And it's always been fans on a minute. We did one for the England game last week against Croatia. Me, Joel, Hugh is here. Today on a watch along is Rio Ferdinand.
That's cool.
It's fucking well cool, isn't it?
I'm glad you appreciate
any time that you want to I think Rio's a bit over the top reacting. Anyway, watching games, I think he gets into it,
it's a bit,
which I'm really looking forward to.
Coming from you
to see,
but, you know.
So I'm looking forward to not only that, absolutely twisting his ear off. What's he doing? Why is he doing that? Whose position are you looking at here? Why? I'm looking forward to just having that sort of experience with him. But he's literally covering like the game that's on now. I don't know if you're aware of that. He's literally covering that game.
Sweden, is it Slovakia, whatever?
Yeah, so he's finishing that, coming straight back here. We will have gone live before he's here, so I've got Ronaldo to fill in for him briefly, so we can kick off the show. And then I thought, do you know what? We can actually fit 4 around our new table that we've got. Let's just have the 4 of us, because I think Rio's going to fucking love Ronaldo.
I agree, you will. We all love Ronaldo, right? Don't get it wrong, we do. But have you warned him? Don't act like you don't know what I'm on about. Have you warned Rio about Ronaldo?
What that is?
Yeah.
He's real wood. It's not laminate here.
Yeah. Have you given him a little bit of a heads up?
We were building a table, the new table that's going to be downstairs.
This is a true story.
Right. Andy, where do you reckon the wood goes on a table?
On the top.
Yeah, because you're not 47 sandwiches short for picnic.
Yeah.
We're literally building the frame of a table. Ronaldo's holding the wood and he goes, let's go on top.
At one point, that wasn't even the worst bit. The worst bit was when we were taking it out of the box and he went, what's this?
Oh, this isn't an England shirt, by the way. These are ice creams.
Hey? What's going on here with this?
It's not an English shirt. It's just a.
It's like you're coming all England now.
The ice creams on your shirt.
Ross Murphy says, imagine Rio on a Paddock watch along.
I'm working on it.
I hope so.
The problem is, he's like BT's big fish. So on the rare occasion that he's not on BT for the game, the chances of him also being in Manchester, because the guy lives in London, he's got a newborn, you know, getting him up here, it is not the easiest thing, is it? There's going to be a time when the stars align, though, and we'll get him on. We'll get him on.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to watching that watch along as well later. Not really a big England fan, Andy, are you? I want England to win, by the way, but I'm not like, it's not my thing. So like something like that, watch along.
The country I was born in, I'll say, but I'm more to Republic of Ireland to my mum's side.
Oh, are you? If Republic of Ireland play England, who do you support?
Well, it's Republic of Ireland now since my mum passed away.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
So, yeah. But I hope England do well. I really do, because it's, like I say, where I was born. But I can get into internationals, then I can't. It's just that I say
I love tournament football, international. I love World Cups and I love Euros, but I love it as almost like a very near neutral.
Right.
When people refer to England as us,
Yeah, I do that. I'll be honest with you, I do.
I don't necessarily think that includes me.
Right.
Do you when they're going, obviously when he plays for us, and I go, like,
there's always that thing for me of like, what I like about Gareth Southgate's England is they're less dislikable than previous Englands. I think that's the best way to put it. You know, like there isn't a John Serry or a Steven Gerrard or someone who you'd never get tired of punching. Do you know what I mean? In that squad. Like
Love to hate.
Jordan Henderson, who plays for the Scousers, isn't that offensive. He's a bit beige. Do you know what I mean? Raheem Sterling plays for City. I don't hate the guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I
should do.
I know.
Coming from Liverpool and
I know.
City.
It's weird that, innit? But I've actually found myself sticking up for him on social.
And he's a United fan.
Yeah. But I don't dislike. Obviously, I hate those clubs, but I don't hate these players. So it's a more likable sort of thing. But I still find myself like when Sterling scored the other day. You're cheering it, but it's not the same as if Marcus scores, is it?
No,
you know
and
what I
not the
mean?
same. Obviously,
No,
he scores for
no.
United. Either.
Yeah.
If Marcus scores for England, it'd be like me watching Lindelof score for Sweden. Now
Yeah.
I'd be like, yay!
Yeah, that's it. You have that little extra thing, don't you?
So what I found a way to get through it, Jay,
Yeah.
is to bet loads on England winning.
Right.
Then
well,
you
I'm not-
fucking get into it.
I put them on.
So
I'm
if you
I'm
see
not
me
being double
fucking
hurt when England lose.
if you see me in fucking Rio laters with fucking shirts over our heads, his is real passion because he's about that. Steve's just won a fortune on England winning. So
you go.
that's what you need to be separating in. I honestly don't. I think I've said this a couple of times. Me and McCullough went to England, Scotland on Remembrance Day as well, which is a fucking special day for me.
Yeah,
And
obviously.
they had a big sort of, because England fans are about that shit as well, aren't they, in a big way, weirdly. And they had a big sort of display in the crowd, and it was England, Scotland on Remembrance Day. Mad day to have a friendly, England versus Scotland. And I went down there, and we were sitting 3 seats from the Scotland block. So I've got England fans here, and I've got Scotland fans here. This lot are wearing skirts, right?
Yeah.
All got the Scottish Highland hats on. They're all off the fucking rocker. And then this lot's full of like fucking accountants and weirdos. And I remember saying to Macola, I don't belong to either of these supports. Right. It's not like when I go to United and I see people dressed like me, talking like me, even. Yeah. No, and that's not about where you're from either. That's people still like replicate that thing, don't they? Yeah. No matter where you're fucking from. See a ton of Irish lads come over.
United,
exactly the fucking
it's that
same.
whole thing that United's a universal language, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you're a
course
United fan from Timbuktu, I'm a United fan from Salford. We've got United in common and we're a similar thing. Doesn't happen if you're an England fan from, Walthamstow and I'm a fan from...
There was a guy standing up in like work gear, he had like a barber jacket on, not a thingy one, but like that he wears with a pink fucking button-down shirt on, specs on, 50 as fuck, going like that. To Scotland fans, I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, when I was in South Africa for the World Cup in 2010, and was there anyway, I wasn't there for England, but we went to the England-Germany game. And the only time I was there in South Africa for 6 weeks, we were warned about how it's violent, you got to be careful, robberies and all that. South Africans were lovely. Couldn't have had a better time. The only time we ended up having any mither where it kicked off, it didn't end up fighting, but the only time I ended up mither was with other England fans during after that 4-1 in a petrol garage. Because it just sort of went off. And it started with somebody giving the locals grief. And us sort of, hang on a minute, what are you doing? What are you fucking saying? And then it escalates into, do you know what I mean? Argy bargy. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. Get involved in the comments, let us know. Do you care about England? Do you care about international football as much as you do Manchester United? Go on, Steve, hit me with it.
Spamalina says, and we stay on this, enjoy the tournament, not that bothered about England. It's not a hatred of England.
No, there's a difference in that.
It's an apathy.
Yeah, I think that's a good term. I think with Republic of Ireland, do you think it's easier to support Republic of Ireland because of just the way the atmosphere is, the way they are about the national team? There seems to be less sort of anger towards the Republic of Ireland team. Do you know what I mean? Like with England, we had dartboards, didn't we, with David Beckham's face on it and stuff like that. You don't get that with
hanging
Ireland. Effigies and all that. Does that make it easy for you, Andy, do you think, or is it just a case of that's just
it's easy.
that's just your affiliation regardless?
I think the Irish... the party animals as well. They know how to. They love the drinking and the tournaments and the colours and the atmosphere is really good. Even with Northern Ireland, they sing it a lot and it's really nice to see. Yeah. So that's why I say that's where my loyalties lie to Republic now.
The problem with St George Cross, and this hasn't happened as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong on this. I'm not an Irish history historian, but the St George Cross has been hijacked by racists in a massive way in England. that doesn't seem to have happened with Ireland. And it seems like there's just like Brazil's one of the most patriotic countries in the world, and they just have this free, guilt-free sort of love of the flag and all the rest of it. It doesn't seem to come across with any sort of like far-right connotations which you get with the St George Cross. And Wales is similar as well. Like, I find myself drawn to Wales a little bit, partially because of Dylan Levitt, but like I could almost support them a bit more than I could support England, because it just feels wrong supporting England.
I know what you mean. Going back to that game where I went and we had like there was a lot of England fans that were there. Sort of, we were playing Germany, so you get all those the usual chants and all that nonsense. But that whole England till I die and all that, and you know, there's a little bit of that. And like you say with the whole Union Jack and the St George's flag, it does feel a bit like far right. It shouldn't, because you should be able to be patriotic without feeling like you're joining.
Feels
some
like an
group.
EDL rally.
Yeah, and you know, not about that. I remember in the 90s, sort of Union Jacks became cool again. Do you remember like Noel Gallagher always had his
Spice
guitar
Girls
before
and all
Noel
that.
Gallagher became a complete and utter Tory that everyone hated? Like, you know, yeah,
Euro 96.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a good time. That was a good feel.
And now it's like you say, it's it does feel like it's been hijacked a little bit. Just on the island front, have you seen the Jack Charlton documentary?
No, not
I
yet.
watched it the other day. It's fucking brilliant.
It's on Netflix.
I think it's on the Beat. I think it's on iPlayer.
Oh, okay.
But watch it if you've not watched
I'll
it.
still watch it.
It's great, and also from a United point of view, obviously Bobby Charlton features in it. Paul McGrath features in it as well, who is one of the greatest defenders we've ever had. And Ireland's one of the greatest defenders. So even if you're just watching this as a United fan, you're not that bothered about Ireland. Watch it just from a football point of view and a Manchester United point of view, because there's a lot of United connections. And it's just fascinating. It really is. And there's some really good stuff in it. Nate Bennett is in the Super Chat. Says, what I love about the Euros, or this Euro, sorry, is that 7 to 8 teams are legitimate contenders. It's an open tournament and the quality has been decent. What have you made, Andy, so far of the Euros? Have you watched much of it?
Yeah, I've watched bits and bobs in patches. I mean, Italy look really good. They've not even broke a sweat yet. They've just banged in 2-3-0s and they look... they're one of my favourites.
Yeah, I was still with you on that. I said before their first game against Turkey was asking our dark horse, and I said Italy, you know, could be a team that does something, because they always, every sort of 10, 15 years, they turn up for a tournament, don't they? The due one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if you look at it, 82,
Well, the thing is, like,
2006,
the Italian teams,
do you know what I mean? Like,
not got the
always do
mega
that.
stars that are playing across the globe like previous Italian teams have.
No.
They're kind of all just doing it in Serie A.
Yeah.
So the sort of worldwide accolade that some of the mega stars might get because they're playing for Real Madrid, or they're playing for, you know, even like Chelsea have had a few decent ones down the years. Like, that's not there no more, really. They're all playing in Italy.
Yeah.
And some of them are playing for like Sassuolo. No one knows who the fucking hell Sassuolo.
Well, that's it, innit? Because you have, and I'm a bit old school, so I'm like, unless it's Juve or Inter or AC Milan, I'm thinking, oh, they can't be any good. And it's just snobbery, really, isn't it? Because you've seen it with the lad Locatelli, who everyone's raving about.
Yeah, I mean,
absolute
when I was younger in the 90s, it was Parma, and they're relegated now from last season. They
Really?
they won a cup.
They had a right team, didn't they?
They won the greatest competition of them all.
Cup Winners' Cup. Do you remember that team as well? Was it Zola and Aspria? Come on, mate.
I think it was the UEFA Cup.
I think you're wrong.
It's Cup Winners' Cup.
I think it was.
Sure.
I think it was the Cup Winners' Cup.
It could be, actually. Could be right. Could
No,
be
I'm going to go with you, Andy. I'm backing Andy. Let's have a look on the old Tinternet. Let us know in the comments what you think of the Euros, what you've made of it, who's been your sort of standout players. Do you care about England? What do you reckon? Right, what am I looking for here? Honours, European.
Parma.
Parma, yeah. Oh, it's both.
Ooh.
I think, is it? Yeah, Cup Winners' Cup in 92, 93, UEFA Cup in 94, 95.
Can you name the last team to win it, though?
Something what?
Ever. Cup Winners' Cup.
Oh, that's a good one.
I know it.
So when did it become... It would have been
1998.
1998. Who won the Cup Winners' Cup? I'm not going to go into the comments because you can play at home, but I'm not going to read it because that's cheating. So you can do it. Who won the Cup Winners' Cup in 1998? Is it not Chelsea, was it?
No.
Oh, why did I say that?
They won the FA Cup that year.
But I know Chelsea did win the
So
Cup
they
Winners'
would
Cup.
potentially been in it the following year. Give me the region.
Hello.
Italian.
Europe. It was Italian. I don't think it would have been Fiorentina. They weren't really.
It was.
It wasn't.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't think they were winning a lot.
Don't start doing process of elimination here. I don't think it'd be...
It's called Show You Working.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be Juventus, is it?
No.
Or is it,
Well, they had the famous manager.
That's thrown me now. I want to say Roma, but I don't think it is.
Oh,
Roma.
hang on a minute. I know who it is. Is it Lazio?
Yeah.
Sven Goran Eriksson.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, we see. Hey?
Would they get to keep the trophy? No? That's an interesting.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, Palmer had a right good team. And obviously, Buffon's just come back there. About 28 years after he left there. Maniac.
Don't you like the symmetry, though, of isn't his career? Like,
Serie B now.
It's Parma. Is it Parma, Juve, PSG, Juve, Parma? Which is quite sort of nice little roundabout way of doing things, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Just keep going back there.
Tie up the loose ends, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Anyone with OCD?
What a career he's had. But that team that he came through, Cannavaro, Dino Baggio, Crespo, Veron, Zola, Aspria. You know who else was in there? Was Lillian Thuram there?
Don't know.
Hell of a team.
Yeah, 90s football, man. What was it? 90s was the thing to watch. Was it Football Italia, wasn't it? It used to be on Channel 4.
Well, Gaz started out. When Gaz went over there, they called it Gazzetta, obviously. And he got injured not long after he got there. But you had on Channel 4, you had all the Italian games. And it was different because it wasn't like now where you can just stream every single game. It was a bit of a treat, wasn't it, to be
Sunday
able to
afternoon.
watch. Yeah.
Sunday afternoon on Channel 4.
And this was back in the day when United used to play on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Wild.
Go on, mate.
Ash in the comments here says, what do you want to see today for the mighty England? A forward line of MBEs. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, Harry Kane's got one. Rashford's got one. Sterling's got one. So they've got like 3 league titles between them.
Yeah.
It's fucking wank, that. I'm sorry.
Like, we all know, though, that Marcus means more to sound all scouts.
It definitely means
He's
more.
like...
One's out here feeding kids.
One scored a few penalties in a World Cup. Admittedly, Raheem Sterling's done a lot. I'm not disputing about Raheem Sterling. But like with Marcus Rashford, it was ridiculous levels, wasn't it, during
both have got more trophies than Harry
Do you know
Kane.
what I mean? Come on. Harry Kane, yes. Get involved in the comments as well. Let us know what you think about anything. Harry Kane. Obviously, the thumbnail is the debt. And some people saying something about the debt. I mean, you know our thoughts on the Glazers, and if you don't, we all hate them. That's basically it. And, until they're gone from this club, we're always going to have these dramas. We know there's a lot of conversations going on with the fans forum. Spoke to Joel Glazer. And even then he was dismissive of the debt, wasn't he? He wasn't like, oh, yeah, we're going to sort the debt out. He was going to
are you going to sort the debt out?
No. Yeah.
Sound.
There was other conversation, though. And there is some movement on that, which we'll keep you updated with. We're going to have Ian Sterling from Must on the channel soon. It'll give us an update on what the latest manoeuvres are by the fans forum. And
Can I just ask a question?
Of course you can. You can do what you want.
At this forum, why wasn't the actual debt asked about? I read this somewhere. This wasn't put to...
No, I think...
And it really pissed me off.
I think there was a question about the debt. I think the problem was the answer was almost not even non-existent. It was... I think the answer was we don't see the debt as an issue. Which isn't a real answer. It was around, I'm paraphrasing it, so forgive me if I've got the words wrong, but it was basically like, with the debt's not going to go away and we're all right with that. That was the sort of Glazer family sort of thing. Get involved in the comments if I'm getting that wrong, but from what I gather, that was the sort of gist of it. So it's not like, the Glazer said, or Joel Glazer or whoever said, we're going to get rid of our debt. That is our goal. It was basically, this is manageable and we're going to keep doing it the way it's been done.
Wild.
And I think...
Wild. Absolutely wild.
It's almost like... just basically telling you to sod off, innit?
It stinks of arrogance. I mean, like today as well, Woodward's come out and said, we are under my reign, we are built for the future. Under your reign, Liverpool have won a Premier League title, a Champions League. Man City have won 4 Premier League titles. Chelsea have won a Champions League as well. So under your reign, we've done fuck all.
The club's gone provably backwards under your reign, mate.
It says exactly. On the article I've got, it says Woodward, in a message to fans and shareholders in the report for the third quarter, Woodward insisted his tenure has laid the groundwork for sustained success in the years to come. He said the absence of fans over the past years proved that they are the lifeblood of the game. Hence the reason we tried to create the European Super League.
Hence the reason you try to shit on us.
Yeah. Following the successful return of limited numbers at the end of last season and continued trials of increased crowds at sports events this summer, we remain optimistic about the prospects of fans returning to Old Trafford in larger numbers going forward. With the foundation, sorry, go on. I've just one more sentence, then you can top it all off. With the foundations for long-term success in place, including significant initiatives to strengthen engagement with our supporters, we look forward to the upcoming season. So yeah, I mean,
wibble and waffle. We've got a comment here which says the debt is not an issue because it has been managed very well. So what's the problem with that? I agree with virtually every word you've said in that sentence. I'm going to be honest with you. One of the comments in here. It's not been managed well. If I'd have told you, Jay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy something. How much is it worth? About 600 million. Oh, okay, it's a lot of cash. You putting money down for that? No. What are you going to do? I'm going to put it all on a bank loan. All right, how are you paying that bank loan off? Well, what it is I'm going to make what I'm buying pay for it. Okay, I've heard of that. But what if... Where's the money coming from? TV. It's going to be shitloads of TV cash. All right, what if that falls through? It won't. Well, you see what happened at Leeds a couple of years ago? Could happen to you. Yeah, it won't. Now, we've got lucky on the fact that of the year it won't. But we've paid over 100 million a season for these to be our owners. Don't tell me that's well manageable. Don't tell me that we're better for that or that has been well managed. Because in 2005, 100 million was 4 first-team players, right? Now it's probably 1.5, somewhere in that sort of ballpark, maybe 2, right? But we could have added. Think about where we were in 2005. The work had been laid for us to peak. We added the likes of Michael Carrick and Anderson and Owen Hargreaves following their takeover, but the likes of Rooney, Ronaldo,
you mate,
yeah, Rio and all of those already in the club. Scholes and Giggs, massive parts of that still already in the club. So we was waiting for the likes of Rooney and Ronaldo to mature. We added in the likes of Evra and Vidic and Van der Sar, and we topped off with Michael Carrick. This work was probably already in the pipeline before they took over. Following the peak that we got to, the mountaintop of 2008, we sold off the best player in the world for a world record fee and replaced him with fucking Gabriel Obertan, who no one even knows who he plays for now. Am I fucking saying
I'm
that?
not Googling it, you're right.
Agreed.
And from that point, Jay, we've gone worse and worse and worse. I fucking love Rio Ferdinand. He's probably one of the best players I've ever seen play the game as a defender. He should have been replaced. Come 2010, 2011, look how fucking quick he got rid of Jaap Stam.
Too quick. Biggest
Right?
mistake Fergie ever made.
If he had, you look
Stam
at what
it.
we
Don't
did
at me.
from 98 with getting in Stam and York. What a summer, by the way. And then you back that up with Ruud van Nistelrooy, Veron, Rio, Rooney, Ronaldo. Look at the numbers and the names. That stopped and went away under Glazer ownership. Now, if Fergie had continued on that trend, Rio's out the fucking door by 2011. And it's company or someone of that ilk that stays for another 10. Whoever that player, Ramos, it's one of those. It might have even been PK. If we'd have continued on that trend, he wanted Benzema about fucking 13 years ago.
For me, like when you were saying there about the Ronaldo going and Obertan, Michael Owen and Valencia coming in. Now, Valencia, was a good servant for the club and he was different. He was a right back when we bought him anyway. A right winger, sorry, when we bought him. And then became a right back. So, he sort of filled a number of roles. But we needed someone like a Benzema or a Zlatan or someone like that, of that ilk. You don't replace Cristiano Ronaldo with... And don't forget as well, Tevez went too. So you lost out of the three... The Premier League's probably best ever sort of three-pronged attack of Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez. You lost 2 of them and replaced them with Michael Owen, who was barely ever fit. Gabriel Obertan, who just wasn't Premier League standard. And Antonio Valencia, who wasn't an attacker, he's a winger.
He was a useful back.
Yeah, he was useful, but I'm not knocking Valencia. But yeah, it was awful. And like going back to your point on Rio, we always did that long-term planning. And that was something that, sometimes like Fergie obviously got it wrong with Liam Stam, but usually got it right. But we put up too much faith in the likes of Phil Jones, Chris Smalling and Johnny Evans. And it was like, when Rio and Vidic both out the door, we'll be all right because we've got all 3 of these.
Yeah.
And it was,
but it was never the case. And Fergie, I think, wrote his autobiography with a bit of a nod and a wink, thinking some players were going to go hit a mountaintop that they never came close to. Like, when did his book come out? 2014, 15?
My autobiography one. Yeah, I think that one came out just after he retired, a year after he
retired. The last chapter is about how Nick Powell's the greatest player he's ever fucking seen.
I think you have to... The thing with Fergie is, and I love Sir Alex Ferguson, I interviewed him the other week, but I don't like to talk about it. He says lots of things, especially over the last 10 years, 15 years, that are nonsensical. And we know that. And you know what? It's like when you...
But I think he wrote that book actually believing that was going to be the case.
And also, there's a bit of a disclaimer in some of the things he says in these books. Like the leading book he did after that as well, when he's trying to sort of say, well, it's not my fault David Moyes came. Even though in his other book he was also saying, yeah, I wanted David Moyes. It's like those two things contradict each other because you've realised David Moyes was a disaster. But it's Sir Alex Ferguson, so we let him off with that. But yeah, it is a shame because what you said there, Steve, coincided with Manchester City winning the lottery, basically. Chelsea continuing to do what Chelsea always do, just recycle managers, throw loads of money at things until they win trophies. And finally, the icing on the cake of shite, the Scousers getting their act together. And that all coincides with us just
not only that,
going backwards.
Leicester actually became a very well-run club. They fluked
100%.
the league, which, okay, you don't really fluke a league, but they made the best of fortunate circumstances to actually go and win a title. But since that, they haven't just sat there smoking cigars. They went, right, cool, let's build on this momentum. They've built a brilliant training ground. Their recruitment's the envy of the entire league. Like, whoever Leicester are rumoured to, just go buy them.
I know what that's like. Wouldn't you do that?
Oh,
Do you know
yeah,
what
yeah. I mean, I put Leicester in the top 6 now. You take out Arsenal and you put
It's like
Leicester
when
in it.
if you ever go to the bookies and someone who's winning, just stand next to them and see what they're betting on. Like, they keep getting these players for like 20, 30 million. And then someone like us comes and buys them off them for 80.
It's like they got cancer. Look at cancer now. It's
Do you know what I
fucking
mean?
phenomenal.
There's a question here from...
He might and probably should go down as one of the best Premier League players of all time.
Easily. Not
Who
even,
bounced, apart from Eric, who's bounced from one club to another and won back-to-back titles? And Cantona did it slightly before the Premier League. And then
with
in the Premier
Leeds,
League,
but I get what you...
Still
what
played
you're
for Leeds
saying.
in the Prem.
Yeah, I mean, let's not, it's nitpick there. Has that happened anywhere back-to-back?
I'm sure it probably has.
Get in the comments and let us know.
Might have happened in European leagues. I don't know.
No, Premier League.
Oh, Premier
Premier
League.
League, like
Premier League.
someone gone from one Premier League title winner to another one.
Not so
Did
mad.
someone go
Not
from
Leeds.
like... Oh, Ashley Cole, did he do it?
He could have done.
Yeah.
Did he go from Invincibles to...
04.
Even though I hate that term because he lost 6
04.
games that season.
And they were 05.
Let us know in the comments. In the super chat, Polly160 says, call me cynical. This is a question for you two guys. Do you actually think Woodward will leave by the end of the year? I fear he will be quietly given a new title and the same duties.
No, I think you'll fuck off.
I'll go. Kean Foster says, off topic, Andy, but do you know my uncle, Andy Foster?
Is he from... Whereabouts in Manchester? Because I know an Andy Foster, yeah.
Let's just put it this way. Andy knows everyone.
A couple of people saying Frank Lampard. I don't think he had the same impact at either club in those title wins, though.
Oh, right, yeah. Right, okay. Mo says, hello, lads. I'm a Blackburn fan and our owners have screwed us over. Do you think governing bodies should look into the owners more?
Yeah.
And then he says, Howson's better than Southgate. He says, better in one of those things, them graphics you do.
Facts.
Do you know the weird thing about Blackburn? When they had the Venkis came in and were just an absolute horror show. And I remember, I used to cover this from Lancashire Reporter, and I remember meeting one of the protesters, the guy that led the protest against the Venkis. And I used to interview him at his house all the time. And the last time I interviewed him, he said, meet me at Ewood Park. So I went and met him there, and I got there and I rang him and I was like, shall I meet you at the Jack Walker statue? And he said, no, come to my office. And I was like, your office? Like, yeah, I've got an office. I was like, all right, okay, whereabouts is it? He went, it's in the stadium. So you're protesting against the owners with an office in the stadium.
What was his job?
Like, it was like, I don't know what his full-time job was, but he was leading like the protest against the owners, and yet he had an office in the stadium.
Was it
They
Broom?
gave him an office in the stadium.
Broom cupboard.
Was he maybe like a supporters trust guy as well, or something?
Oh, no, I don't think so. All I knew him as was this guy, and they'd sort of, because they did a lot of weird things, the Venkis, don't forget, when they had, remember when they had Chevy Singh giving interviews.
Oh, really?
And the fans forum he did that was live on the Sky started sort of live broadcasting because he was saying things like
The Venkis make
our
Mike
manager's
Ashley
terrible and things like that.
look like one of the greatest owners of all time.
They did. They were awful.
Yeah, that Blackburn Road was Venky's chicken commercial as well. Remember that?
Mike Kennedy says drink water. I think that's a player, not an instruction. Did Danny Drinkwater do that?
Leicester, Chelsea, possible.
He didn't. What have you got there?
It would.
Where have you got that from?
Nowhere.
Put it back.
Okay.
Told you about taking bits of wood out of the table. Yeah, a few people said Lampard. You've covered that. You've said that. I mean, right. David Logan says this is an interesting one.
Did he win the title with City when he left us?
Who?
Tevez.
Not straight away. No, not at all. David Logan, can't deny the amount of money we've spent over the last 10 years. There's no way anyone could convince me that isn't enough for us to be successful. Just on that, though, before we go into the debt and everything, the two aren't mutually exclusive, are they? You can be badly run, be financially sort of hamstrung and not running the right way and be hemorrhaging money towards this debt and be wasteful as well with the money you spend. which we have been over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Not so much under Ollie. I think Ollie's got it right almost every signing he's made. But
he's overspent on the 2 big signings that he made.
yeah, go on.
How'd you get Bruno Fernandes 46 mil, but pay 50 for Wan-Bissaka and 80 for Harry Maguire? Those numbers don't make sense.
If you add them all up together, right, if you said, what is it, 46, 50,
180 million-ish.
180 million-ish, and those are the 3 players, how would you think that would work out?
I mean, the 80 million pound signing is all day, if not 100 million pound signing is all day Bruno.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, maybe 50 for
It's
Maguire, 30 or something for...
Yeah. It's mad, honestly.
So, I don't necessarily argue that they've not spent money. My problem is they've not even come close to spending what we've spent on debt on transfers. So that's the club money that the club made. And it goes to banks because of the fucking debt that they decided to shackle us with 15 years ago. And people want to look at what we spent, but not actually look at what's out on the field. People will talk about the money we spent on Di Maria. Can we pick him? No, we can't. They want to talk about the money we spent on Lukaku, £75 million. Can I pick him? No, I can't. So there's 125 or £30 million of talent we can't fucking pick. And we're trying to compete with Manchester City, who have spent 830 odd million on 25 players on a team that had already won the fucking league. Let's have it right. From when Sir Alex left, the 11 looks somewhat along the lines of De Gea in net, Rafa / he's probably still a right winger then, wasn't he? Yeah, so Rafa, Vidic, Evra with Smalling and Jones in the background. Sorry, Vidic and Rio with Smalling and Jones in the background. Evra, and you didn't need a backup because he never didn't play, although he brought Butner in. You had Carrick, and you didn't need a backup. You had Anderson still there. You had Scholes. On the right, you had Tony Valencia. You had Wayne Rooney. You still had Ryan Giggs. And you had someone like Nani. Right? Look how quickly Giggs, Scholes, Rio, Vidic, Evra, Carrick drained away. World-class, irreplaceable players.
RVP.
Oh, yeah, sorry, RVP. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He was almost useless to Moyes. And I don't mean that as his...
I'm looking at backups.
Criticism. Injuries were catching up with him. He didn't play as often.
Welbeck.
Don't slag
some genuine... I mean, Fabio didn't even fucking play, really, but was good.
Yeah.
And
even Makeda.
Chicharito. Makeda.
He was he's a shame.
Already on his way out then.
When you have that as the basis of your squad, the experience of your Vidic, your Rios, your Rooney and Giggs and Scholes, only really Rooney stuck around after that. Replacing all of those players is hard work. And we spent money, but we didn't replace that. We didn't spend the money correctly. And that is the issue, is that we lurched from one style, David Moyes, let's bring in Fellaini, to Lou Van Gaal's, which is let's play lots of really fucking rigid possession football on the floor and bring in the likes of Daley Blind to facilitate that. To then go into David Moyes, to Jose Mourinho, who goes, I'm fucking playing football on the floor. That big fucking Fellaini up there and just twat it to him. So you've lurched from one style to the next, and then you bring in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's actually more closely aligned to... If it had been linear from Fergie to Louis to Ole, it probably wouldn't have been as much wastage. Because they would have been a lot more closely aligned players, and a lot of the players that worked for the 2 previous managers would have worked. But because you had Moyes and Mourinho in the middle, you've gone from, to throw a political analogy, and you've gone from Republican to Democrat to Republican to Democrat, and it's just completely fucking shook up the squad. And I'll do a lot of looking into like what a lot of managers and stuff say. And the reason why you see a lot of managers go for younger players is because by the time you get to 32, 33, you've had 5 managers. You've had 47 different formations. You've got your own ideas, and you're probably a bit fucking stubborn. Whereas a young lad looking to impress, you go, this is how you play the fucking game, and he goes, this is how I play the fucking game.
Yeah. And
he will fit your system. And I think that's why they look to younger players a lot like that. Or they don't, like, you try and tell Matic to play a different way now. He's like, fuck yourself. That's how I play.
Was that, because you might have a bit more insight into this, was that a big issue with Moyes? Him trying to change things with experienced players?
Yeah, so...
Because a lot of the team you mentioned there, well, you mentioned them all, Moyes inherited a bunch of 29, 30, 31, 32, 33-year-olds.
Reigning champions.
Yeah, reigning champions, and then obviously had his own ideas. And we've heard these rumours and stories about Jagielka does this and things like that.
Cancelling the
I've asked them
chips.
questions.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you, because I know you have a little nasty mate that question, because this is what we got, that he came in and was trying to tell players that were as good at football as you can be in that position what to do, and they were like, well, I know what I'm doing.
Andy, tell me how many games Robin Van Persie played in the 2012-13 season for United.
Best part, a lot of them.
He played 38. He played one off the bench, which was Everton in his debut, and then he played the other 37 games.
In the league, yes. He played every league game.
Played every league game, right? He featured in every single league game. How did injury-prone Robin Van Persie do that?
I'm guessing by resting a lot and doing light training, not doing heavy training.
Basically, Fergie was like, you do what you got to do. I'll see you Saturday afternoon.
Right.
So what a lot of Van Persie would do is he spend a lot of time in the gym, spend a lot of time with the physios and with the strength and conditioning coaches on his own. He would do a lot of balance work because it was his ankle, I think, that was his major problem. Ankle and a knee, was it?
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time doing that. He would join in some of the tactical sessions, but that was that. I think I asked Rio about this and I didn't really get a straight answer because he sort of went off on a different tangent. But I asked Rio about this and it was in the ballpark of the truth, but what I'd heard wasn't the full truth. So what I'd heard was Rio kind of did a bit what Van Persie was doing, and he didn't play back-to-back games. He was like, no, I did play back-to-back games, and then went off on a tangent. I didn't actually get a full answer.
Just on that, I think one of Rio's best seasons was the 12-13 season. I thought he was fucking immense that season. Yeah. I really do. And however Fergie managed him was...
I'm going to have to go back and look. Did he actually fucking play week in, week out? Because in my head, he didn't.
No, you might be right on that front, but I know when he did play in that season...
Or if he played at the weekend, like we ain't seen him play Wednesday in the fucking group stages of the Champions League. Like you might play all the knockout games, but he wasn't playing. But I'll have to have a look into that. But what I'd heard was when Moyes turned up, he went, "No, we're doing it like army style, squadded runs. Robin, that includes you." And then he's injured all fucking season because he just can't recover enough. He's got tendonitis in one of his knees, I think, and the ankle's just the most complex joint in the fucking world, isn't it? Like, you've got a rough ankle, you got a fucking rough ankle, and that's what I'd heard about what was going off with Moyes. Whereas, but I almost at the same time think we had to do the Moyes thing. Like people always say, he should have kept Rene and he should have kept Mike Phelan and he should have kept all these, and you go, yes, and he probably would have been successful, but we'd all be sitting here now on year 9 of David Moyes' fucking contract saying, well, he won a title, remember, in his first season. He can still fucking do it. Not realising that it actually might have been Rene and Mike Phelan keeping everything spinning, and he just didn't fuck it up enough. Whereas what we got to actually see in the 9 months he was here was that he wasn't up to the fucking task. He was like a rabbit in the headlights, and fucking Luke Carpenter and his fucking band of brothers that he brought with him just weren't fit for the task. And that's why I'm glad he didn't keep Rene, because we'd have deluded ourselves into actually thinking that this was a competent manager. Because he'd have had the support and his hand held, and we'd have had the endless debates. Well, he's won a title, though. He's good enough. Look at him. And
this is a good point you make about Rio. And he's in the season we won the league. He played 26 games, so he's obviously not playing every game in the league. And we lost 2 of those games that he played. So, obviously played a massive part in us winning the title, was managed perfectly. And obviously that's a lot of that went out the window when your man David Moyes comes in and says, actually, no, we're going to do it this way. Peter Kelly says, you can say we haven't replaced Ronaldo, which we haven't, but we still haven't got a Keane replacement.
Could be coming back, fingers crossed.
The thing is, though, we went in a different direction to Keane. And also, a bit like Ronaldo, to be fair, but we never even tried to replace Ronaldo. We brought in Michael Carrick and we went in a different direction. We became European champions. Let's not pretend we didn't replace Roy Keane. The only other player that could have stood next to Roy Keane at that time, Daniel De Rossi, maybe, in that mould. There wasn't many players in that mould.
The thing is, Roy Keane and Brian Robson are 2 of the greatest all-round midfielders in the history of football. You don't just replace them. We just got incredibly fortunate in a way, and it was a lot of fortune. That we managed to go from the one player who was like a generational all-round midfielder and get the other one to replace him. It was just ridiculous.
A coup that was.
Yeah, and it's like, and you heard about the story of Aquino at Blackburn, how he nearly signed for them, but there was no one there to welcome him. He went down to Blackburn to literally sign for him.
When was Robbo, 81?
I think 81, yeah, under Atkinson.
So from 81 to 2005.
You've got Keane and then
24 years spanned by 2 utter Titans.
It just,
That's wild, isn't it?
It is wild. Mo, again, I think this is the Blackburn fan that says, here's a question, lads. Why is it owners like Venky's are losing loads of cash but refuse to sell when no one wants them there? Any insight to why? Why do owners hold on to clubs when they're not making money? Why do they refuse to sell? Are they making money elsewhere? Is there something going on there?
Is it a prestige thing?
There's a few clubs that own. I mean, like I said, Oldham Athletic are owned, but they go through managers left, right, and centre, and their owner allegedly interferes and tries to pick the team.
Good lad for the allegedly.
So and from what I've heard, like I say, I've got a soft spot for Latics. They want the owner out on fair dues because Oldham in my time, Oldham were in the Premier League in the 90s.
Remember this, Andy? 92, 93. Nick Henry against Aston Villa.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Hey.
It was a bit of a mixed emotions that day. I was fucking loving it.
Mate, can you imagine? That's what won United title. The Francis Brady says this is one for Andy, referencing Ireland. In Ireland, all Ireland finals for hurling and football, 80k fans, no segregation.
There's no segregation at rugby.
So they just have all Ireland, Northern and South Ireland, or Republic of Ireland, I should say, no segregation.
Yeah, my family's from Galway, so yeah.
Good stuff. Should we wrap it up there?
Sure.
Yeah? You happy with that?
I'm all right, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Hungry though.
You're hungry. Thanks to everyone who's got involved in the comments. We have got lots coming up on the channel. We're here tomorrow for a Twitch. We're doing, I think it's Portugal, Germany. Myself, Jordan, who's the new flavour of the month. And his new housewife's favourite is our Jordan.
Who is it?
And Joe Smith. Steve is going to be on, you're doing an England watch along, aren't you, with Rio Ferdinand on Rio's channel. So go and check that out. You've got Ronaldo there, you've got Steve, you've got Joel, and you've got Mr. Rio Ferdinand.
Rio, yeah.
It's not too bad, is it?
Not
To
bad
spend your Friday night,
is
eh?
it?
On
Chilling
5.
with the
Come and get
second
some-
greatest defender I've ever seen play for Manchester United.
Come and get some alternative commentary and actual genuine insight from me and then whatever Rio throws in. But I think it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to be sitting there watching a game with one of the greatest that's ever played. Literally.
Are you with him? Are you still Mr.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. I don't care how many times you played for United.
I think we mentioned this the other day.
Yeah.
Rio, there's a quality Rio's got. I think I might have said this to the wife the other day, that he's got a quality that we can have this argument and disagree, and not once he go, don't remember you playing fucking 600 games for United, mate.
Because that kind of ends the argument if you start going down that route. Because in that sense, then, how can you argue with him about anything to do with football?
Yeah, but
Do you know what I mean?
the fact that he actually genuinely listens to what you say.
Well, that's why he's one of the better pundits.
Yeah.
You know, when you watch him he has his knowledge and his experience and that reverence you have for someone who's won a lot. But he doesn't just sort of go, well, I won, this is Jermaine Jenner, so you're trying to talk to me about defending. I won it all.
Yeah, exactly. Sort it out.
Yeah.
Whereas, and he actually cares as well. It's not like, we've done a few things via BT with him, especially when I first started this channel. And I remember I went down to do an interview with him. I had we just started Stretford Paddock. I had the Stretford Paddock mic. And he went, what's this? I said, it's a new channel. He went, you're not doing that thing with Adam anymore. I said, oh, yeah, yeah. He went, oh, okay. Like, he's not prepared for that. He's literally, he knows, and it's a bit of a mind fuck where you go, actually, is he fucking watching?
Well, I think that's how you end up getting in touch, isn't it? You know what
Very
I mean?
likely, yeah.
Because he's not like, he could have chose a lot of other people and he obviously wanted to work because he knew what you were about. So, do you know what I mean? It's good to know.
It blew my mind that when Evra, I went and did the work I was doing with Evra a few years ago before he decided to come off socials after kicking someone in the head. When Evra, I hadn't met him, it was his brother that had sorted me out the work with him. And then as I met him, was introduced to me, he goes, where I know you from? And I was like, told you I love you in Panacea once. And he's like, no. He goes, wait. He's like, you stand outside the ground. And so I was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck off. I was like, no way. He's like, yeah. Then he told me Rio and Carrick are always putting in videos into an ex-player's WhatsApp group. And I was like,
well, that's what he was like, when McCullough did it.
Put me in that WhatsApp group.
McCullough said he was gutted because he walked in and I don't think they were filming and everyone's like, hey, full time, no. It's like,
But he's watched me, hasn't he?
Funnily enough, Patrice, everyone knows who you are, Andy. You're fucking world famous. Literally, if you get what a laugh, go and look on TikTok. Search in TikTok for Andy Tate.
It's everyone matter.
It's
One
amazing.
mattered when he saw us in Singapore, I was like, hey, and you're like, what is going on?
What is happening? Talking to Patrice Evra next week. Yeah, on this channel, Patrice Evra. Also, we've done an interview with Fabrizio Romano. Go and check that out. That's on the channel. Andy, where can people find you? Still doing your Instagram stuff?
Yeah, I'm still doing Instagram. It's just quiet at the moment, innit? No Premier League. I'm strictly Premier, but I'm on Instagram, yeah.
Go and check Andy Tate on Instagram. Go and check him out with all his stuff that he's doing real. Now and again, he's on this channel as well if you want to check him out there. You know where to find me. This has been Howson's Brew. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notifications bell as well to get all the notifications when we go live and when we have an update on a video. Thanks for watching.